There's been a lot going on around the NFL the last few days. A division rival makes 2 trades in one day. Zach Wilson has his pro day. And what does it all mean for Sam Darnold? Jets! Welcome in, boys and girls. My name is Ryan. I'll be your pilot today. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Guys, I do live streams every Monday night, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. I do my live call-in show, and then Tuesdays we got our Talkin' Jets panel with me, O'Leary, and Greenbean. So make sure you tune into that Monday night, 8 to 10, and Tuesday night, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. It's a lot of fun, and we get to answer a whole bunch of Jet questions and Jet-related rumors and all that good stuff. But let's talk about today's video. We're talking about a few moves that happen around the NFL, specifically within our division, and just one pick behind us at number 3. The Miami Dolphins wind up trading a blockbuster trade with the San Francisco 49ers. They send the 3rd overall pick to San Francisco for their number 12 pick, a 2022 first and 3rd round pick, and a 2023 first round pick. Now, if that wasn't enough, Miami trades again, like within 20 minutes or a half hour or whatever it was. They trade number 12, number 123, and a 2022 first-round pick to Philadelphia to jump up to number 6 to get number 6 and number 156 from the Eagles. Now, what do I think about this? How do I feel one way or the other? Well, let's talk about the first part of this trade, the Dolphins trading out of number 3. Now, there was a bunch of news coming out over the last few days that the 49ers did not even try to talk to the Jets about trading to get up to number 2. So to me, that's a dead giveaway that the Jets are taking a quarterback, or that Joe Douglas has made it known that he did not want to drop as far back as number 12. Because regardless of what the Jets were able to get, it doesn't make sense to go all the way back there, because if you fall back to 12, you don't have a shot at Kyle Pitts. You don't have a shot at, any of the top wide receivers. You might have a shot at like the 3rd wide receiver, I guess, in this bunch. But it wouldn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense for the Jets to do that particular type of move. But 3 first-round picks and a 3rd-round pick just to get up to number 3? Ooh, man, that is a lot of draft capital. It basically turns the Laramie Tunsil trade from like 2 first-round picks into like 4 first-round picks and a 3rd-round pick. So the Dolphins have made out incredibly well for drafting Laramie Tunsil. Just amazing. There's so much draft capital. And Texas fans have got to be rolling over because they could have had this type of draft haul had they just held on to their draft picks. That's why you don't trade big draft picks, even though I'm talking about Deshaun Watson. Whatever. Okay, so Miami trades down to 12. 49ers come up to number 3. Well, the 49ers were rumored to be involved with a Sam Darnold potential trade. Not that we were going to get number 12, but them moving up to number 3, giving up the draft capital they gave up, clearly indicates that number 3 is going to be a quarterback. Now, that means they're probably out of the Sam Darnold sweepstakes here. Jimmy Garoppolo could be on the trade block, which means that's more competition for the Sam Darnold trade market. Not to mention, Jimmy Garoppolo could, in fact, be cut, save the 49ers money, and then teams don't even have to trade for him. They could just pick him up off the street. So that's an issue with the Sam trade value there. Now, Miami dropping back to 12, I was like, okay, you know what? They're just hoarding picks at this point, just loading up. Then they trade up to number 6 with Philadelphia. And Philadelphia needs a bunch of picks. They are in a not so great cap situation, but now they basically control between them and the Dolphins and the Lions will control their fate next year in terms of the draft. They all have at least 2 first-round picks next year. Although I guess the Dolphins don't because they just gave it to Philly. But either way, the Dolphins have a ton of draft capital over the next few years. So they can do a whole heck of a lot of things with trades, with trying to go up and get a quarterback. They basically get to test out Tua. Philadelphia gets to test out Jalen Hurts. And then the Lions get to try out Goff for a year before they make any rash decisions trying to jump up to the top of the draft. Now, what do I think of these trades overall? From a Miami Dolphins perspective, I think this puts them squarely in the best position to land Deshaun Watson after this year, pending all the legal issues and everything going on with that. They basically got to try out Tua and still be in pretty good shape to make a move like that in the future. In terms of the Jets and Sam Darnold, this is not a great look because if you're Joe Douglas, the trade market is probably narrowing down further and further. Now, maybe you argue the Bears Carolina, the Texans could all, in theory, still be in play for like a second-round pick. But losing out on rumored to be the 49ers, not the best. Definitely not the best. Now, in terms of quarterback-wise, for the top part of this draft, if the 49ers didn't even talk to the Jets, there's a few things that could go through our minds. It could be that the Jets are definitely taking a quarterback at number 2, which is what I sort of subscribe to. I definitely think that's going to be the pick, and I definitely think it's going to be Zach Wilson. The other thought process in this is that the Jets did not want to trade down from number 2 down to number 12. So then that begs the question, what would it take for the Jets to move out of that number 2 pick if they felt like they wanted to roll with Sam Darnold? The only trade partner that I see left that might be desperate enough to make a move and would be within striking distance for the New York Jets would be the Carolina Panthers. You wind up sending whatever quarterback they take to the NFC. You drop back to number 8. You get at least, this sets the bar, 3 first-round picks and a third just to get up to number 3. That sets the bar for me. If you're trying to get up to number 2, it's got to be more than that. But that happens, then you got to think pick 1, 2, 3 are all going to be quarterbacks. Number 4 at Atlanta could definitely be a quarterback, so you might see the first 4 picks be quarterbacks, which means Cincinnati at number 5 is probably getting Penei Sewell. Number 6, where the Eagles are, or where the Eagles were, that the Dolphins now are, they're most likely getting the top wide receiver option that they want between Kyle Pitts, Waddle, Smith, and Chase. So they'll get their options for Tua there. Then you have, the Lions, and then it would be the Jets at number 8. So the Jets are going to get their pick, if they were to trade down to number 8, of at least 2 of the elite weapons in this class, I think. Now, all that being said, I don't think this is happening. I don't think the Jets are going to make this move unless the Carolina Panthers just offer a boatload of draft picks, which I don't really see happening because I think the Jets are definitely taking a quarterback there. Now, in terms of Sam Darnold and how this sort of works out for him, it's not good. I think based on, I guess let's do this. Let's talk about Zach Wilson's pro day because that was something pretty cool. And I don't subscribe to the whole, let's get hyped up about a pro day kind of thing. But some of the throws he made were pretty friggin' impressive. And I know guys have the whole Sam Darnold throwing on the run, running to his left, throwing to his right, hitting, Crowder or Berrios, for a 30-yard touchdown this year. Well, he doesn't do that enough. There's too many bad plays in there. And with the pro days, you don't want to get too hyped up because it was only 3 years ago that we saw Sam Darnold play his pro day or perform at his pro day in the pouring rain, and he was throwing darts all over the field, and he looked like the best quarterback coming out of that year's draft. So you have to take the pro days with a grain of salt. Now that said, Zach Wilson, from everything we've heard, all he had to do was not screw up his pro day, and he's basically a lock for the number 2 pick. And from what I saw, I'm pretty excited. I had guys texting me. My buddy John's texting me. He's like, dude, did you see that throw? And I'm like, oh, man, this is going to be cool. He can throw a rope across the field. It is very, very impressive. Now, from, I guess, an all-in perspective, what are we talking about here? The Jets, I think, are absolutely taking a quarterback. And this trade, I think the biggest part about this trade and the biggest part about Sam Darnold that scares me, because a lot of people are still very pro Sam Darnold, which I'm pro Sam Darnold, the player. I'm not pro Sam Darnold on the Jets for next year, just because of everything going on. Look what happens if the Jets run it back with Sam Darnold next year. More than likely, we're probably not making the playoffs year 1, but you're probably landing somewhere around 10 or 6 and 11, 7 and 10, 17 game schedule, which lands you somewhere in the 10 to 15 range in the draft. The 49ers just gave up 3 first-round picks and a third-round pick to go up and get the third best quarterback in this draft. You're telling me if you run it back with Sam Darnold, you get more first-round picks, you're willing to give up all 3 first-round picks next year, plus more to go up and get your quarterback potentially? Because there's no way the Jets are going to be picking top 2, top 3 in the draft with all the talent that they've added, all the draft pick acquisitions that are going to be coming in this year, the new coaching staff, the easier schedule, all this different stuff. That's what gets lost on people when you want to roll with Sam, because if you are committing to Sam this year, you need to commit to Sam for at least 2 or 3 years, because there is a really high probability that you are not going to be in position to take a quarterback next year without giving up all the ammo that you went up and got. If you take Zach Wilson this year, now you surround that quarterback with tons of talent, just tons of young talent. Now, some people were asking, is there any situation where the Jets hold on to Sam Darnold? I don't really think so. I think he's definitely going to get traded night of the draft after we make that pick, or either just before the pick goes in. I don't think there's any way he comes back to us. Now, Sam Darnold, very similar to the Sam Bradford situation that Joe Douglas had in Philadelphia. They drafted Carson Wentz, number 2 overall, and they wound up but they wound up bringing Sam Bradford back and then holding on to him into the preseason until Teddy Bridgewater ripped up his knee and they traded him for a first-round pick to Minnesota. I would say if the Jets were only getting offered like a third-round pick for Sam, then yeah, I would probably but I would probably hold on to Sam. I don't think Sam's the type of quarterback that would cause a bunch of waves, but he's the type of quarterback that you could kind of let sit, see what happens in the preseason, and then trade him, and then maybe get more than what you're getting offered right now. Now, again, I don't expect that to happen. I think the Jets trade Sam Darnold. I think they draft Zach Wilson, and then we're just going to go on a run of drafting playmakers and offensive linemen and hopefully just surrounding this kid with as much talent as possible. Guys, let me know what you think of the trade with the Dolphins, the Eagles, the 49ers. What does it mean for Sam Darnold? What do you think of Zach Wilson's pro day? Does it mean anything at all? Has it changed your opinion on any of this? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, go Jets.